guys? Welcome back to the Mike Check Podcast. This is T Word, the People's Champ. Thanks for tapping in. Today we're talking about Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford and the mega fight coming up July 29th at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Before we get into the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We appreciate your feedback. Now, let's go ahead and get right into this thing. As you can see by the title, today's topic is going to be the legacy of both fighters, depending on if one of them is to lose both fights. So everybody knows that there's a rematch clause built in. It's a two-way, bilateral, whatever they want to call it, two-way rematch clause. So we're going to get this fight twice. And I believe the second fight has to take place by the end of the year. So you're looking at July and then backdoor and fight for undisputed again late in the year. And I heard that there's a potential is at 154. All of that to say, we're going to see possibly two different versions of both fighters because, we're definitely going to see two different versions. For one, the guys that step into the ring on July 29th are going to come in lesser versions, are going to leave lesser versions of themselves. I think this is going to be one of the toughest fights ever for both men. And the version that walks in, they'll never be able to reach that again, simply because this fight is going to take something out of both of them. These are two of the most elite welterweights we've seen in probably the last 20 years or so, really since Floyd. And the way that they'll probably punish each other and bring damage to each other, that means that the rematch, we're going to see a different version of both men. I don't think they're going to be as strong. You might even see them be a little bit tentative unless somebody just really need to get their get back in the second fight. Now, let's think about this aspect, though. Let's say, for example, Terrence Crawford comes in, he's got the secret sauce, and he beats Errol Spence. And then they rematch late in the year, and he beats him again. In your mind, does that tarnish the legacy of Errol Spence Jr. because he lost to Terrence Crawford twice? And then let's flip the script. Let's say Errol Spence comes in and he does what he does. He brutalizes and damages, and he beats Terrence Crawford by decision over 12 rounds. And then he comes back in the second fight, and it's a repeat performance. Does that damage the legacy of Terrence Crawford? Somebody that's been undisputed at a weight class, 3-weight class champion, probably going to move up to 154 and chase a belt if he was to lose to Spence twice. What does that mean for their legacy if either of these guys takes 2 L's? There's a good chance that it goes this way, though. I'm kind of picturing if they're going to do both fights, I'm picturing maybe Terrence Crawford edges the first one, and then Errol Spence takes the second one, and that's contingent on it being at 154. I just think at that point he'll be too big, too strong, because he only wants to make 47 one more time, and that's to get the big money at 147 undisputed. But I haven't been able to verify that that's the actual truth, that the rematch is guaranteed to be at 54. And I think a big part of it also is going to be what the sanctioning body do. But I don't want to spin off to that. What I really want to focus on is the legacy of each fighter. I think the main thing that you're going to have to consider is, let's say they fight July 29th and Terrence Crawford just sparks Errol Spence out, and then they come back again and he sparks him out again. I think that damages the legacy of Errol Spence. If Terrence Crawford is to go to a decision in the first fight with Errol Spence and lose, but he's beaten and battered, and you know how opponents look after they face Errol for 12 rounds, and then he comes back and potentially takes the same type of beating or gets knocked out, that's going to damage his legacy. I think it has to be extremes, you know what I mean, for me to say that, okay, yeah, this fight is taken away from what that person was. You weren't what we thought you were. It's kind of the sentiment that I would be looking at. Like, you got in there with the most elite and he embarrassed you. And that would be crazy, because you think about the guys who got in there and put up better fights against Errol Spence. You would have to look at Sean Porter, who didn't get dominated. Ugas didn't necessarily get dominated, but he got beat on. If Terrence Crawford was to go in there and get dominated and beat on all night long, that would look ugly for him, especially if it happened twice. For Errol Spence, somebody that's never been knocked out, you get sparked out by the same dude 2 times. That's going to look really bad on the resume. So I think that aspect will actually damage the legacy. But in the end, the fact that these two men will have given us 2 fights, I'm reserving from calling it basically a classic, because we don't know if it's going to be a classic yet. We need to see them fight, because if it's one-sided either way, this can't be a classic. it's just going to be a mollywop, and people are going to say, well, hell, they should have got it out the way in 2018 and just been done with it. We could have had a better fight for Undisputed, But anyway, the buildup, I think, has put a lot of expectations on the quality of the fight, and I think that's something we'll talk about in another video, but we'll love to get you guys' thoughts. Would 2 losses for either fighter damage their legacy? And if so, what would be the catalyst for you to feel that way? So go ahead and drop that down in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We're also live every Sunday, 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Join me, Q, and the panel for boxing talk and sports updates. But this has been T for the mic check. Until the next time, I'm out. Peace.